What is up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Drive for Show, DFS for Dough here on RotoGrinders. We've got another golf tournament this week. That means another show for you. And it should be an interesting tournament this week with Torrey Pines, one of the premier courses in play, and a Wednesday golf block this week. So be careful if you're registering for those contests and you've still got that dummy lineup in there by the time, Wednesday lunchtime rolls around. You're going to be stuck with that lineup. So make sure you get those lineups submitted nice and early this week. And the early show pays off a little bit here this week on a Monday night. So happy to be with you as usual. I am Justin Van Zuiden. I've got Notorious alongside me, Derek Farnsworth as usual as well. Noto, how's it going? How was your week?
Yeah, it's going good. Nothing special in terms of my week at the American Express. I don't know about these birdie fests. I mean, your guy goes 3 under on the front 9 and loses ground to the field. It just feels, I don't know. I never had a lot of success at these, so hopefully you had a little more success than me. But I'm excited for the Wednesday start. We get to sweat golf for 3 of the work days of the week instead of the usual 2. So that should be fun. I think the PGA is just getting out of the NFL's way, letting them have their, Sunday for the conference championships. And, it should be a fun week of sports.
But they always the Waste Management always usually goes up right before the Super Bowl on Super Bowl Sunday. So I've always found that a little strange.
But they it's kind of like a tradition there, and they start tee times really early so that they try to anyway.
Except the one year where it went to like a 6-hole playoff, and then it was basically going up against the kickoff.
Always seems to be a playoff. And then I'm forced to watch that on my phone while everyone else is watching the Super Bowl.
Everybody else is taking the sensible route. So Wednesday to Saturday this week anyway for the conference championship week. And tournament at Torrey Pines that we will dig into here in just a second. Of course, we joked around last week that Birdie Fest putting contest. John Rahm was muttering under his breath, well, not really under his breath, but out loud the year before, complaining about the tournament. And of course, this year he went on and won. So no surprise, Rahm playing the best golf of anybody on the PGA Tour right now. Ended up taking that down 27 under par last week. Xander Schauffele made a run on Sunday with an albatross, shot 10 under, finished a couple shots back. And then Davis Thompson, who was basically the fantasy star of the week with 5 eagles in the first 2 rounds, just couldn't make enough birdies down the stretch to hang with Rahm, and ended up falling a 1 shot short, but still a pretty strong finish for Davis Thompson at 26 under. Chris Kirk, another top 5 finish. Taylor Montgomery, another top 5 finish. Those 2 guys keep rolling along. But what were some of your takeaways from that event last week?
Yeah, Timon, I believe it's 17 of his last 20 starts. He's finished in the top 15. Just incredible run he's been on. And I wish somebody would have pushed John Rahm about his quotes about the bleeping putting contest, because he won while losing 2.2 strokes putting. Now, we only have, 2 rounds of data to work with in terms of shot length from last week. But, it just goes to show, very few people can win with their B game. And John Rahm's one of them. I think he's won 3 or 4 times in his last 6 or 7 starts worldwide, which is pretty incredible. We only saw him win 1 time on the PGA Tour last year. He's already got 2, and we're not even out of January yet. So I've seen a lot of people already betting John Rahm to finish in the top 10 of all the majors. That number's come way down. Obviously, he's a huge favorite this week. We haven't seen somebody, a plus 450 for quite some time. So, he's going to be tough to beat. Obviously loves this course. We'll talk about him in a bit. But I was impressed with Davis Thompson. He hung in there, had a chance on the back 9, and impressed with Xander Schauffele. Kind of wish I would have had a little bit more exposure to him in tournaments. Just one of those guys that, he said he was feeling a little better. The x-rays were negative, and the ownership wasn't there. So looking back, it's probably someone we probably could have been a little higher on. And that's about it for me. Yeah. How do you feel about these birdie fests with 3 rounds and all this stuff?
I don't know. I used to like him because I used to do pretty good at him, but now, my lineups this past week were like dreadful. So it was not a strike. I liked Rahm and wrote him up in the article, but not a lot of success otherwise. 10 under for a cut comes Saturday afternoon, and it just I don't know. That's a little too much for me. So I'm kind of adopting your mantra with some of these events, particularly the ones with the multiple courses, and the rounds were so long, and I don't know. I lost interest pretty much by Friday when I knew my lineups were dead for the full week contests anyway. But Yeah, not a big fan of that one last week for sure.
Yeah, I mean, the courses are cool to watch on TV, but I mean, if you didn't hit in the water, it's pretty much had a good look at birdie, no matter where you're hitting it off the tee, and not a lot of, hard scrambles either. So it didn't help that the wind was basically non-existent all week. But yeah, anyway, it's a fine tournament, but I wish it was a little bit tougher on these guys.
Yeah, just tough to balance that when you got amateurs out there too, and the rounds already take forever, not wanting to make the pin locations too tricky. But 10 under, I think that's the highest score you've needed to have to get through a cut that I can remember. I know this one's been 9 under a few times, but 10, that's a big number. So anyway, we'll transition to a new week. It was a lot of guys that particularly value guys that I thought were interesting last week. Brian Harmon wasn't necessarily value anymore, but Harmon was a guy I was on. Grayson Sigg faded on Saturday and missed the cut by a shot or two. Aaron Wise, Brendan Todd. I mean, these are all guys that ended up at 8 under and still missed the cut. So just one of those tournaments, throw it away, move on. New week, completely different course this week with Torrey Pines, different setup, much more difficult. We do have 2 courses in play the first 2 rounds so that everybody can get through in the daylight hours this time of year. But otherwise, the host course, the South course at Torrey Pines, will hold both weekend rounds once we get through the cut, or I guess Friday and Saturday rounds once we get through the cut for the final 2 days. So only 1 round being played on the alternate North course. Each golfer will play that course once. It does play significantly easier. Noah. It's my kid's name. Noto can talk about that in just a second when we break down the courses. But if you're playing Showdown for the first 2 days, you're definitely going to want to focus on the guys that are playing on the North course. So, Noto, why don't you talk about the courses that we got in play this week?
Yeah, typically when we have these course rotations, we see courses that are very similar. Last week we had 3 par 72s that were all easy. And then at Pebble, we kind of have the same thing, 3 shorter courses that are all pretty easy. This week, the courses couldn't be any different. I mean, the North course, I think it's 500 yards shorter than the South course. It features bent grass greens compared to Pga greens. And the scoring couldn't be any different either. The North course is top 10 in terms of the easiest courses on tour. The South course, pretty much, one of the top 5 or 10 courses in terms of difficulty on the PGA Tour. So, yeah, I mean, guys that play well at Torrey Pines, typically more of a classical layout. The fairways are tough to hit. The greens are tough to hit. Scrambling's difficult. There's a lot of 3 putts. So guys that are solid all around, guys that get it out there a little bit. The course is nearly 7,800 yards. So distance certainly doesn't hurt this week. And, yeah, just looking for guys with, experience on Pga greens, experience at Torrey. It's one of the more predictive courses in terms of course history year in and year out. And I think bogey avoidance is probably a little bit more important than birdie or better percentage. But I was going to get your thoughts on this. So Thursday, it looks like there's going to be 25 mile per hour gusts. Yeah. Does that mean the easier course is going to be who does
this
that
is the dilemma. Which
yeah.
course do you want on which day? Because you can make a case for both. You can make 2 arguments. You can say, hey, you want to play the easier course on the day when the conditions are easier so you can put up a score. Or you can say, I don't want to be playing the hard course on the day where it's going to be more difficult. I mean, everybody, and I bring this up a lot because I got hosed on this, way back, but there was one year for this tournament where the weather conditions, it turned into what seemed like a hurricane for the final round. And everybody who went out fairly early, was able to put up reasonable numbers. And then by the time the last groups, or kind of the middle and final groups got out there, guys were shooting 7-8 over par. And, that was like 5 over par average for those later groups. And, I think it was Snedeker that shot 3 under and ended up, climbing like 50 spots to win the tournament. It was really weird. And I mean, I just remember from that and how difficult that course is. I don't think I want to be playing that South course on the difficult day. So Thursday is the day right now that the weather's projected to be the worst. I think if I'm angling full weekend lineups, Right now, I want guys that play the South course on Thursday when the conditions are a little calmer, and the North course on Friday. But that's just my take on it. Or Wednesday and Thursday. Sorry, I'm going to screw this up several times. North course Thursday, South course Wednesday, the first day.
Okay, so right when you started saying that, I was like, okay, that's good for my bets because I put a bet in on day and Zalatoris, but then I forgot they started on Wednesday.
No, I got the days backwards there a second.
So, but I guess if I'll have to look it up. But anyway,
yeah, I mean, this is not there's no way this is a bona fide edge. It's just my opinion on not wanting to play that beast of a course when the weather's bad.
Yeah, and that's a good point on the Snedeker. I remember he wasn't even winning after they had to delay it till the next day.
And no, he was still ahead by like 2 or 3 strokes, and then
he was
behind
a huge
by 2
favorite, and he was a huge favorite because
the weather, even though it had stopped like raining and stuff, it was still really windy that when they came back.
Yeah, I remember KJ Choi was hitting like 190-yard drives. It was something special. Anyway, I kind of agree with you. I don't know. Maybe you want to post that low score in the easy conditions. I don't know. We will see for sure. Definitely for Showdown, like you mentioned, you want to target the North guys. They are going to be a lot more owned. This is not a sneaky strategy by any means. You don't want to be targeting a bunch of guys on the South course if you're playing Showdown.
Yeah, that'll be anybody that's following close will certainly be taking that strategy. It's definitely, even in tournaments, you're going to want guys that play that North course in Showdown. So don't try to get too cute with it. Obviously not as relevant to full week slates unless you are like me and think that there might be an edge based on the weather that second day. But time will tell on that one. Also, for those of you, we used to have a tradition on this show where we would do a snake draft on one of the apps, like the draft app, which doesn't exist anymore. At the end of the show, we're going to try to bring that back this week. I know a lot of people watch this on playback and maybe don't catch us live, but if there are enough interested folks, we can do a snake draft live with our producer Devin at the end of the show on DraftKings. And kind of go through some strategy that way as well. So hopefully some of you catch that and willing to join in. But we'll get to that in a little bit. So let's go ahead and start talking about the lineups. I mean, people are going to ask whether that stars and scrubs build makes sense. And in the past few weeks, it's been really easy to get to the guys at the top, but DraftKings is finally starting to bump Jon Rahm's price a little bit. He's up to 11.6 on DraftKings. And I guess he's probably worth a conversation on his own at this point. He's clearly the top guy. He clearly likes this course, as you mentioned, but he's 11.6. So what do we do? Do we try to prioritize Rahm this week?
Yeah. When's the last time somebody won 3 tournaments in a row? It's got to be a while, right?
Tigers.
It's got to be something like that. I know like Stricker did it but that was 3 consecutive years at one tournament, not 3.
Not 3 consecutive tournaments.
But yeah, I mean, he's won here twice, won the U.S. Open here, and then won his first PGA Tour win here at the Farmers, obviously in great form, like we've been talking about. 4 straight top 7s here. He's head and shoulders above everyone else in the field right now, so you can definitely play him. He is my favorite play above 10K, but there's not nearly as many cheaper guys that I like this week. Even in the low 7s, they're just not the same amount of guys that I like compared to last week. And you mentioned it, the price point finally up in the mid 11s. I couldn't stand any more of the 10.6 being the most expensive guy in the field. So pricing stuff for this week, I like it that way. I do like Rahm, but starting in the 9Ks, I mean, you get a lot of good golfers there in the 9Ks. So you can play 2 or 3 of them, feel a lot better about the bottom of your roster than you do, if you play Rahm, mix in a 9K guy, and then kind of go from there. So what are your thoughts on Rahm? And then I guess we can hit on the other 3 guys too.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you're building multiple lineups, you can't completely fade him at this point. Does he make a single entry build? For me, probably not. I think I'm in that same camp as you, that I just like the lineup build. I can get a little bit better if I start a little bit lower, because I mean, if you start with somebody around 9,600, that's $2,000 savings. So that's significant. when the bottom of these fields, get pretty weak and get tough to play guys in the 6K. So I think I'm with you in GPPs, TBD on ownership percentage with Rom at that salary. I think that'll be really interesting to see kind of where he lands once all that data starts to filter in. But not a guy that I want to be, if I'm building 50, 60 lineups, that I want to, be completely out on with the way that he's playing. But probably doesn't make my optimal lineup, though. That does make you feel a little uncomfortable.
Yeah, for sure. And Mr. Gerg, we'll get to your boy Yeager here in a bit. He's not quite priced up to Rom just yet. Yeah, he's become like the chat favorite. Anyway, so Finau, obviously 3 wins since July, plays well in California, really good course history, hard to argue with him. Xander coming off of he nearly backdoored a win last week. I think he was 10 under or something on Saturday or Sunday. And then Morikawa is probably my least favorite of the 10K guys. I don't know how he's going to react after the meltdown at the Tournament of Champions. And if you look at his numbers from that week, he gained 5.7 strokes putting. That's usually the weakness in his game. So I'd rather see him gain it with the irons and the driver than the putter, because I just don't know if that's going to be able to sustain itself week in and week out. But yeah, do you like Morikawa at all?
Yeah, I don't think I do this week either. Going to have a lot of tough par saves on this course. You look at all the metrics, it just doesn't stand up, I think, to those other guys. I think Finau is probably my favorite in this price range. Schauffele I like as well, but yeah, Morikawa I think is an easy pass at 10K for me as well.
I believe this is a home game for Xander. I think he's a San Diego Torrey Pines guy, but he struggled here for the most part.
We'll see if he can keep that momentum going after that good finish last week. All right, let's go ahead and move down to the 9Ks where we have Zalatoris, Justin Thomas, Sungjae Im, top 10 machine, Taylor Montgomery, Max Homa, Matsuyama making up that 9K tier. And, in the past, I think most people would have said that Justin Thomas at 9,400 feels like the bargain in this price range. I don't know if that's necessarily the case now. I mean, he doesn't grade out quite as well in our projections as some other guys in here, but where are you thinking in this 9Ks? You mentioned, starting a lineup in here is pretty good. You get, maybe 2 of these guys.
Yeah, for sure. And you want to know who the best guy in the field is on difficult courses? I bet you can guess.
I mean, it's Taylor Montgomery is the best on every course these days. Bet I can get. Is it Willie Z?
It's got to be. Yeah, it is. Yeah, he's the best. Rom's number 2 on difficult golf courses. Obviously, nearly won here last year. Lost in that playoff to Luke List. A lot of people had outrights on him that week.
Don't bring that up. No need to bring that up.
A lot of people are going to have outrights on him this week, including myself. So, yeah, Zalatoris. I mean, he finished 11th at the Tournament Championship, 30 or Tournament of Champions, 36 last week, and those are not courses that you expect him to play well at because you have to make a lot of putts. This is the perfect type of event for Zalatoris. So he's my favorite play in the range. I think Thomas is just fine. Anytime you get him at this price point, certainly going to be intrigued there. He's a good long iron player. I didn't mention it in the intro, but you get a lot of approach shots from 150 to 225. Very few wedges, at least on the South course. And then I like Taylor Montgomery. This is one of the few events where he has course history at. Finished T11 here last year. Typically, he's seeing all these courses for the first time, so it's kind of good that he's seen this course before. And I also like Max Homa, a guy that plays well on the West Coast. He won the Genesis last year or 2 years ago. I can't remember exactly. But, yeah, he's been in good form coming off a third-place finish. He's got some good course history. So I really like starting my single-entry builds in the 9Ks, playing 2 or 3 of them, and then dipping down a little bit.
All right, totally agree on Zalatoris. Like him a lot. I think Thomas is fine. I'm anxious to see ownership on him as well. And, just guys who've got experience in this event, I think has some merit. Sungjae has made the cut all 4 times he's played here. I mean, but Montgomery 11th in his debut here, so he just plays anywhere. I think all these guys you can make a case for. I always tend to be slightly lower than the field on Homa, but I mean he's played better his over the last 18 months have been the best form of his career. So even though he missed the cut here last year, he had an 18th and a 9th before that. So all of these guys you can really make a case for. Certainly mix and match them in your builds. If I had to pick two guys to start a lineup with, one of them would definitely be Zalatoris, and still kind of TBD on the other and pending ownership. So certainly a lot of strong plays in that range. And then, there does seem to be maybe a slight gap once you get down to the 8Ks, not necessarily this golf-sized gap, but
how dare you? The winner is in the 8Ks.
Yeah, I know. If he's going to withdraw though, so then that hasn't happened in a while. So all right, let's move to the 8Ks. Not a lot of guys in here that make you feel warm and fuzzy that you're targeting him. I mean, Siwoo Kim, you never know. Jason Day, you never know. Theegala, you never know. JJ Spawn's been playing really well, and he's a California guy, but now he's 8,500. I mean, 8,500 for JJ Spawn. I don't know. None of these guys make you feel warm and fuzzy clicking on their name. So tell me why I need to roster Jason Day, I guess.
Yeah, I got a different take. I like a lot of these guys. They don't project that well. Maybe that's why you don't get that warm and cozy feeling. But Jason Day, so I mean, he's won here twice, 4 other top 10s here in the last 10 years. So I mean, that's 6 top 10s in 10 years. That's pretty impressive. And then you look at his form, top 25s in 5 of his last 6 starts. He's gained over 22 strokes ball striking during that stretch. And he's talked about it a lot. He got a new swing, so the one that's not as hurtful on his back. He's talked about being able to practice a lot more with the new swing, and certainly shown up in the results. So I love the spot for Jason Day. He opened up at 28-1 this morning, and that was immediately bet down to 20, 22 on most books. So yeah, he's my favorite here. But I like Theegala. He played well here last year. He's another California kid, went to Pepperdine. I like McNeely, another California kid. He played well here last year. If you look at his numbers on long courses, much better than he is on shorter courses. He's been coming in good form. It's been mostly the putter. But if you can get the ball striking going a little bit, I like that. Keegan Bradley, I think, is a great, bounce back type of play. He was pretty popular. I think he was over 10K at the Sony. Now we get him at 8,300. He's played pretty well here in the past. Adam Hadwin has one of the longest active made cut streaks in the field. Justin Rose has a bunch of good finishes at this event. I like a lot of these guys.
Yeah, but Justin Rose isn't the Justin Rose of 5 years ago.
Yeah, but this is the event for the old stars, the Jason Days, Ricky Fowler, Justin Rose. You can build a lineup with all these guys.
They just suddenly
Gary Woodland,
have a couple glasses of good wine and they're ready to go, or what?
I don't know. I think it's just the classical layout. I don't know what it is, but Ryan Palmer always shows up. We'll talk about him. It's just kind of weird. The mid 30s to low 40s seems to be a sweet spot for him at this course.
All right, I'm sort of sold, but not totally sold.
Are you playing Day? He's gonna be so popular.
Yeah, I can't. Like if Day comes out as like the highest projected owned guy, I gotta laugh. I get it. Like I understand the course history and the new swing and the fact that his form has been significantly better, but I can't. Unless for some reason, the bias leads the ownership way down. But
I think he's going to be top 3 owned.
All right, I'm out. I like McNeely. I'll play him. I don't mind Keegan. I'll play a little of him, but I don't think you have to have any of these guys, which is why I like.
What about Cam Davis, a guy that I loved last week and just completely fell apart?
Yeah, I don't see what. Let's see. He's made the cut 5 straight years here with nothing better than 32nd. So I guess that's okay. I mean,
Brian from the chat's in. Pure FOMO. I like it.
Pure FOMO on who? On Day?
On Cam Davis.
Oh, on Cam Davis. Well, he must have been riding the train forever or something. I don't know.
Yeah, Bradley. Davis is frustrating. I get it. Yeah.
I mean, that's all these guys have made us like. If you haven't been frustrated by Siwoo Kim and Jason Day and Theegala and and Keegan in your DFS career, then just wait a year or 6 months and you'll get there. It'll happen to you at some point. But I'm going to sprinkle in a lot more of the 9K guys, a lot less of this range. I don't like it as much as Noto does. But now you can queue up all the jinxes if you want to. I mean, even Luke List is Luke List hasn't done anything probably since last year at this tournament when he won.
Oh, man.
10th the year before.
If you pull up his game log and look at his putting, it is so bad. It's like -6 every single tournament.
Every week.
It's bad. And Hayden Buckley, too, at 8K. They rate out as two of the worst value plays for me on a per dollar basis in the model. So don't like them, but I like 5 or 6 guys above them.
All right, so let's move into the 7Ks, which is where you're probably going to be rounding out your lineups if you don't like the 8Ks like me, and you still want to play some guys in the 9Ks. Obviously, you can't play a full lineup full of 9K players, so you're going to need some guys in the 7Ks. Davis Thompson obviously played well last week. He's in here. Ricky Fowler, if you want to trust the veteran narrative, there you go, 7,600. I'll save Ryan Palmer for Noto, who, he might have the best recent course history of kind of anybody in the field. Gary Woodland, if you want to play that veteran narrative, he's in here as well. I think that there's just some interesting plays, even like all the way down at 7,200. I like Robbie Shelton quite a bit this week too. And so these are the guys that I think I'm going to be rounding out my lineups with, not playing as much in the 8Ks, starting in the 9Ks or right at 10K. And then go into guys like Shelton, even somebody like Woodland or Palmer. If you want to play that veteran course history angle, I'd rather do it with somebody that's a little bit cheaper in these 7Ks. So who do you like in here?
Yeah, I love the Shelton call, a guy that was on the PGA Tour and then, didn't have his card anymore. I had to battle back on the Corn Ferry. Now he's back. He's played here twice, made the cut both times, T16 in 2021. 7,200 for him coming off of a T6. I like that call quite a bit. Moving up, you mentioned the veterans. Gary Woodland's got a really nice track record here. He did miss the cut at Sony, but it was all due to a bad Thursday. He almost battled back to make it on Friday. We've been playing Will Gordon a bunch, or at least talking about him a bunch. Finally missed the cut last week. Maybe that'll help lower the ownership a little bit. I don't know what to do with Ricky Fowler. I want to say he's from San Diego. I'm not sure on that. I know he lives in Jupiter now, but he used to have a bunch of good finishes here, and then he's been struggling at this event over the last 5 or 6 years. But you mentioned the new swing. It looks good at times, and then he just always has that one blow-up round that kind of costs him a high finish. 2 bombers, Taylor Pendrith, Wyndham Clark, if you want to play the distance angle at 7,900. I think they're both firmly in play. Clark has been in pretty good form. Pendrith T16 here last year. Scott Stallings always seems to play well on the West Coast. Don't mind him. Thomas Dietrich played pretty well last week. This is his first time at the event, so that worries me a little bit. And then you mentioned Ryan Palmer. He was so bad for so long last year, but he did gain 4 strokes ball striking at the Sony a couple weeks ago. And 5 straight top 25s here. Like I said, this is the event where people just show up randomly without any form and play well here every year. We've seen JB Holmes do it. We've seen Ryan Palmer do it. Justin Rose, a bunch of guys. I don't mind Ryan Palmer at 75.
Yeah, you could just do a whole lineup of those guys, and it's going to, you can do the old get the band back together lineup. Let's see. Now I got to find it. All right. Day is 8,800, and Keegan is 8,300. And Rose is 8,100. Click. And Fowler is 7,600. All right. I need 2 more veterans here.
Woodland.
2 more. Oh yeah, Woodland. Palmer. All right, we got Paul. Oh man, this lineup's got salary on the table. Day, Bradley, Rose, Fowler, Palmer, Woodland. $2,300. $2,300 on the table. Play that. Don't play that lineup. You're donated.
Just take one out and play Rom.
Yeah. Sadly, you can't even do that. Not even enough to get up to Rom from Day. Rom's too expensive. Got to settle for Finau or Xander.
All right.
That's how. That goes to show you too. That's with nobody else above 8,500. You still can't play Rom. So you really got to dip down low if you want to get Rom into a lineup, which is why I really interests me to see where the ownership will end up, and also why Day's ownership is going to end up so high. All right, there's not much under 7K as usual, but we can talk about some of these guys. But what we want to do is try to bring the band back together with a snake draft. This fits the mold of all the veterans playing this week. We're going to try something old school. So if anyone wants to hop into a snake draft on DraftKings, we're going to do one live on the air. We'll let our producer, Devin, share the draft screen as we go through it. But we need to try to coordinate. And again, I mentioned we don't have a ton of people that watch live. A lot of people do this on playback, but you still be able to see the draft. So we got to try to coordinate on our end here first and get in the same snake draft. So what we're going to do is probably just try a 6-person draft for this time, since, again, not as many of you watching live. But it looks like on DraftKings, there's a $5 snake draft with 6 players. Almost everything's 0 out of 6 because these don't start filling usually until closer to the tournament. So I'm going to hop in a $5 6-man snake draft, which should eventually show. Now, all right, it says there's two people in there now, so hopefully that's 2 of us. But if you guys want to join with us and do it on the air, we got to get up to 6 people to make this draft go. And if nobody else wants to join, then we'd have to do one with just the 3 of us, which is less fun because we're going to eventually maybe do some prizes for this and try to give out some RotoGrinders premium, maybe a T-shirt, something like that along the way. We'll just do this one as a practice this week. But right now, if you go to the PGA lobby on DraftKings, sort for this weekend's tournament, go to the snake drafts, $5. There's 3 of us in there now. Don't make us be lonely. It's only $5. And usually we end up donating money in these anyway. So check it out. Come in and join us. And while we kind of wait for that to fill, I'll kind of keep an eye on it. But let's go ahead and talk about the punt plays. 6K range this week. Anybody grading out as a reasonably viable play for you?
That's a good question. Do you remember the name of the guy that used to take all our money in these snake drafts?
Oh my goodness. How can I forget? No, I don't. And then he's going to show up in the chat and remind us, or maybe he's going to show up in the draft and remind us. Doggone it. Now that's going to bother me.
Yeah, cheap guys above 7K. There's a couple more wanted to mention. Matthew Neesmith, so played terrible first round, and he was playing the easiest course in his first round last week. Ended up nearly making the cut. I think he missed it by 1 stroke. So he's 3 for 3 at this event. 7,100 seems like a good price point for him. I like Callum Tarrant, a guy that very inaccurate off the tee, but he's long off the tee, can make a bunch of birdies. When he does make the cut, tends to flash a lot of upside. I like Justin Suh again. We talked about him a little bit last week. He is 7,100 as well.
Oh, we got a draft filled, Noto.
Oh,
you're gonna have
okay.
to pause. Starts in 50 seconds. All right, we're going to have to table this.
That was
Devin.
That was all Devin. I had anyway.
Producer Devin's got the first pick. That's not fair. I've got the second pick. I don't know if I want the second pick. But Noto is picking last. So shout out to
Leave me Day. Let's go.
Day will be there, the last pick of the draft. Shout out to NY Giants fan and Jay Walken and somebody's name GCH Miele. I probably just completely G Schmiel. I completely botched your name, and I apologize if you're watching us live. But all right, so hopefully Devin's been watching the show and he at least remotely knows what's going on because the first pick is obvious. So he'll start us off.
Yeah, he's gonna take Day.
Yeah, totally gonna take Day, and then I'll be mad because I wanted to pick him for sure.
I think it's my first snake draft on.
Oh, I've done it. It's been a while. I've done one, but it's been a while. So, all right. So Devin took John Rahm, which is not surprising. I will take Tony Finau, who I like just a little better than Xander this week. So no surprise that those are probably going to be your top 3 picks, and they're the 3 most expensive. I think from there, it's definitely interesting to see where people go if they're just fall in line.
Zalatoris, I wanted that one.
Well, now you got 2 picks in a row, and you can't take Day twice. You can only take him once. So
where is Day?
He's right near the top, 11th overall.
Oh, there we go. I couldn't see him. All right, give me Day, and let's go Homa.
Cue up the W for Day now. I've been ragging on him for 30 minutes here. Just seems so weird to see JJ Spawn near the top of these rankings.
I've missed out on a lot of good finishes.
I missed out on that whole boat. Yeah, it's been a surprise. So, all right, back to me. Matsuyama's gone. Let's see.
Morikawa dropped to 9th. That's a good value pick.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting. It's pretty interesting here. I can't pass up Montgomery at 11th. So we'll take him there. Now Devin gets a couple of picks. They won't be quite as easy as taking Rahm first overall.
These are kind of fun because you kind of get an idea of where people rank players regardless of salary. Because like Morikawa was one of the more expensive guys, but fell all the way to 9th.
Dipped down to 9th there. So, okay, Devin has gone with the Gala, and now he's gone with Keegan Bradley. So, all right, let's see. I will go with McNeely, like his fit on this course. I'm fine with him. So, see, now you see the Siwoo Kim dipping down a little bit below where he's ranked price-wise. Spawn dipping down below, right? Everybody's a little bit skeptical of that run by JJ Spawn, and now we just get to wait and see if all the veterans make it back to Noto.
Wyndham Clark, I like that one.
I think I've played Wyndham Clark in DFS at this event like every year. I always play the Bombers. There goes Siwoo Kim. All right, so now Noto. We'll see how much Noto likes JJ Spawn. Rose was a given. JJ Spawn is just going to sit out there.
Too early to go Woodland. Yeah. All right. Dude, I can't get on Spawn now. Give me Hadwin.
Spawn's just going to sit there. We'll see if anyone. Of course, I don't know if anybody's got this set on auto draft. I presume all of us partaking are watching live, but it just Spawn's just going to hang out until somebody feels like he's disrespected.
Someone better take Jaeger.
He's going to be Mr. Irrelevant at the end. It'll be the last guy picked. All right, I got to start paying attention here because I got a pick coming up, and it gets a little bit harder to pick these guys the farther you go down.
No Snedeker in the field? Is he not invited past champ?
I don't know what's up with him.
I was gonna say maybe he went to live, but they probably don't want him.
This is where it gets pretty wide open. I mean, you can make a case for about 20 different guys, I think, around this point that don't feel completely out of place. Well, there goes.
Still there?
Yeah, Spawn's still around. Spawn is still around.
So maybe he's going to be a sleeper DFS.
I definitely won't be chalky.
Yeah, maybe we'll try 10-man next week if we can get enough people. These are fun.
I mean, I think at this point, 26th on the board. I mean, you can't grade out any worse than some of these other guys.
Oh, you took him?
Yeah, I took him.
Here comes the miscut.
That's fine because I'm not going to have him in DFS, so I'll sacrifice the $5. Sacrifice the $5 for the miscut. I feel like his miscut would be worth at least $5. And
I was asking about Hoffman. He played pretty well for a couple rounds at least last week. I didn't see where he ended up finishing, but I had a matchup against him, and he beat my guy. So okay, I'm up.
Yeah, he missed the cut. He finished 6 under.
Oh, somebody took Palmer?
That Noto did. Noto took Palmer and Woodland off under.
That wasn't me. You mean Devin?
Yes, I
Okay.
did. I have now pronounced you the wrong name twice on the show. Called you Noah once, and
Oh no, 3 seconds. I don't.
you're
Harris
getting Davis
English?
Thompson.
Oh,
Oh,
geez.
okay.
I didn't
Oh,
want English.
you got him.
Okay, I'm sticking with the veteran narrative. English and Fowler. I'm just donating this week. See, join this draft and free $5.
Yeah, this is why I'm fully convinced. This is why over the years we donated these, because it's tough. I mean, you're trying to talk and give content as well, rather than just, sit here in silence and do the draft. That wouldn't be exciting. See, I'm going to be up again, and I've got like 30 seconds to try to figure out which one of the scrubs I want.
Yeah, next week we'll try to get the 10-man, and then it'll be real slim pickings towards the bottom.
All right. Well, I am taking Robbie Shelton here. I like him.
Oh, we have a bench. What does a bench do? Can you swap
Yeah,
them
so
out?
I'm not sure if it just takes your highest 6 out of 7, or if that's a replacement if there's a withdraw. I have to read the rules here. Or if we have to actually set a lineup and pick who's on our bench. I don't know.
We are free money in this contest. We don't even know.
All right, back to me.
Okay, your highest scoring players are automatically your starting lineup.
Okay, thank you to whoever actually has knowledge of the format, rather than just jumping in like us. All right, I'm taking Jaeger because you said somebody had to take him.
Then this is your non-starting players will make up your bench, and they will not count towards your fantasy point total.
I don't mind that format. It gives you a buffer if there's a withdrawal. I mean, obviously, you'd still like to have everybody there, but
Davis Thompson, nobody's going back.
Oh, man, he's still up there. I had scrolled down. I just presumed he was gone. I wouldn't have mind taking him there. But Doug Gim. Shout out to that guy.
Yeah, he's
Doug Gim.
Yeager's the new Gim for this show for some reason.
I mean, I haven't been on Jaeger all that much, but Johnny Vegas, he hasn't done anything in a while either.
I know.
Right.
He used to be. All right, last pick of the draft. Got to make it a
Mr.
good one.
Irrelevant is going to be whom?
Trying to go way down the list. 15 seconds.
Whom? The drama. Harry Higgs.
All right, I got to go Neesmith.
You can view the draft results here now. All right, Neesmith for Noto. Good luck, it says. And we're done. So there it is, the donation station. The $5 draft. That's going to bother me all night. I cannot remember who it was that took our money for all those years. Yeah. I even tried searching it in my emails because I figured I saved something. But he stole those too.
I'm sure it's in Slack somewhere, but you got to search his name. We don't know.
Yeah, I don't know his name. And I'm gonna feel like a fool. Like he's gonna have to message me. All right, let's see. I don't think there's much else below 7K that. I mean, just nah. Let's see. Anybody under? So Gim got drafted. Anybody else under 7K actually get? Hoffman is 6,900. I don't think anybody else under 7K actually got drafted in our draft. It's ugly down there. So 7Ks, plenty of options in there to round out your lineups for sure.
Yeah. I was going to say Carl Yuan. We brought him up last week, and then he was almost dead last. So.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going back there.
Oh, Bill Haas, 6,100. He loves this course.
I mean, he'll be hitting those 190-yard drives now in the wind on Thursday. I got the day right this time. Remember, it starts on Wednesday. Any of you who are joined us late or watching us on 5 times speed and missed that the first couple times. Wednesday lock, it's going to end up getting adjusted, obviously, to whatever Pacific Coast time. It'll start around 7 a.m. Pacific Coast time, so around 11 a.m. Eastern, something like that, on Wednesday morning. So make sure you get those lineups finalized. And we'll make this snake draft a recurring theme here on the show and offer some prizes as we go along as well. So good luck to everybody in that this week. And thanks for hopping in. Noto, anyone else? Anything else before we get out of here?
Yeah, add Jason Day to all your football, basketball parlays. It'll make them a lot more juicy in terms of the odds.
It'll make them all losers when the rest of them hit.
It'll turn your Bengals money line from plus 110 to plus 40.
I mean, does Devin
4,000.
Devin, do you remember who took our money? Who took our money, Devin?
I've been trying to think about it this whole time.
Oh my gosh!
I wanted
Devin
to say it's like a Brian, but
I don't know.
Shot in the dark.
It's not. It's not,
well, they'll comment on the video, I'm sure.
It's not hitting. It's not hitting me. I'm gonna have to
PSA for the DFS community. Find us the person who took the money.
Somebody's got to know.
He moved to Hawaii with all his winnings. He doesn't even play DFS anymore.
He's got to. We're sitting here slaving out over his show, and he's drinking a Mai Tai on the beach. But all right, enough nonsense for tonight. We'll go ahead and wrap this up. Thanks as always for watching, everybody. Should be a fun tournament. Enjoy it. Remember, Wednesday start. Thanks to Devin for helping us out. Thanks to Noto for joining me as well. I'm Justin. I said your name right that time. I only messed up twice, so we're on the up and up now. Have a great week, everybody. We'll see you back here next week. Same time, same place. See you later.